when you die! On your feet! Get them going!
Top of the morning to you, lads and ladies. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Whatever the case may be, welcome to Cross-Examinations Live. I am your host, Mike S. Miller. And yes, interesting question. Today we'll be diving into Exodus chapter 23, laws and stuff. And is it obvious? I'm using a filter. It says, what does this filter say? Make me look better or something. It's some new thing on it's a new thing on StreamYard, or at least a new thing I've noticed. Where did it go? I can't even find where it is now. Camera? Touch up my appearance. Okay, I look like I'm gonna reduce. Here, let's just turn it off, see what happens. All right, we'll go from max to off. Oh yeah. All right, gets rid of some. I hate they call them sunspots because I don't know if they're actually from the sun. I'm doing some research on that. What do you think? Off? On? Mid? I'm gonna leave it on mid. I feel like I've got a Hollywood producer making me look better. Anyways, oh, I didn't know this was a Slurp stream. Yes, this is my new ASMR channel, everyone. Just join us as I put a little bit of Cool Whip in my coffee today. I don't know what Cool Whip is made out of, and I don't want to look into it because I'm health conscious. Coffee. It's what's for breakfast. Mike has age spots. I'm 53. I'm perfectly allowed to have age spots. Although this thing, I actually, man, I had this little thing and it would burn things off your skin, like with electrical in it. And one time I took this off, I just burned it off. And then it was just, and then it came back. And I'm like, but then I lost the little tip of the head of the thing that burns it off. I was like going around my arms. I'm like, okay, I can burn this little thing off or little thing off. And I'm like, oh, I'm trying to sing on my face. It hurt, but whatever. Didn't hurt as bad as like a tattoo. And yeah, this thing was just gone for a while. I should do it again. This is not a beauty mark, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, technically, if it was on a girl, oh, nice beauty mark. Men don't have beauty marks. We have scars. Anyways, somebody said, John Mintz said, if you were driving your car at the speed of light and turned on your headlights, what would happen? What would happen? I don't know, but let me tell you something. Sorry if I yelled into your headphones. Do you guys, have I talked about this before, about how fast we're going through the universe? I have, right? I saw this video about somebody pointing this out, and I'm like, is that true? And so I went to AI and I asked all the specifics that he was mentioning through his video, and it was true. And I'm not going to do the math for you, but we're going. Okay, this is all according to scientific theory. If the world isn't actually flat, or if the scientists are right, which makes me wonder: can the scientists actually be right if this is true? And I get inertia is a thing. But according to science, you know how we're like, you've seen that video of like, we're not just doing this in space, we're spiraling through space, right? You've seen that they've done the 3D animation of how the Earth is corkscrewing through space in time. Well, you add up the rotation of the Earth going around the sun, and then you add the rotation. That's super annoying. The speed at which we are going around the Milky Way, right? You add that speed. You add that speed to the speed the Milky Way is moving around the center of the universe. These are all, you can go look these theories up. This is how they, I don't know how they do it mathematically or whatever. And I grant you we could be going in different directions, but this is sort of a maximum speed thing. If you add all those up, the Earth is, or could be, traveling through space at 1/24th the speed of light. Okay, now this is bothering me. Hold on, I'm going to turn this. All right. That's better. If we are traveling through space, as the scientific calculation could add up to, at 1/24th the speed of light. I also asked AI, how large of a piece of debris would have to be hitting us? If a piece of debris hit us, I can't remember how I phrased this, it was months ago. If a piece of debris hit our planet at 1/24th the speed of light, how large would it have to be to create a 10 megaton explosion? And essentially it was about the size of a golf ball. Now here's the thing, if you're traveling through the atmosphere at 1/24th the speed of light, you do not have time to burn up in the atmosphere, right? There's just no, and that's just any random hunk of anything floating in space. Now keep in mind, they suggest that that everything in space, it's not all moving like in a giant clockwork, right? They say it's moving in all different directions. So one galaxy is going this way, one galaxy is going that way, one's going this way, that way, this way. All the space debris that's not maybe part of the galaxies, they're going every which direction because it's all random, you know. It's all random and meaningless. Therefore, if anything wasn't moving along the gravitational lines of our solar system or our galaxy, if any random galactic particles, intergalactic particles were just floating around in space, the merest space dust, right? We should be bombarded regularly with like nuclear explosions at a minimum. Something the size of a car would probably crack the earth in half. Like this would be a 10 megaton explosion. Aren't all the objects drifting further and further apart from each other, but in all the different directions, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's like, say we're moving at 1/24th the speed of light in one direction, and another particle is moving at 1/24th the speed of light in the other direction. That would probably literally have to be less than a freaking, probably less than this to like cause some severe kinetic explosive damage on our Earth. We should be pelted by this stuff, which is why it's funny. It's like they proclaim these theories, and then they simply proclaim them as if no reasonable person would question our conclusions on how fast we're going through the universe. And then you're like, you just have to question it with some basic simple logic and be like, well, if that were the case, if your calculations are correct, yeah, Jupiter can't. That's the excuse they use. Jupiter's out there as a buffer collecting all of those. Bro, if we're heading, you've seen the illustration. Hold on. The whole Jupiter protecting. Let me see if I can find this. So this is the graphic. Oh, this is the animation. Right. This is the animation I was talking about before. This has become. I see this on YouTube and I see it all the time. All right. They're like, no. This is how we're actually moving through space. Right. And this is just us moving through the Milky Way galaxy. Now, explain to me. I just want the cooler, but I just want it to loop so I can talk about it while we're. Dang it. Explain to me if we're moving as this is suggesting, right? How, if something is coming from this direction, from the opposite direction, say, or even just sitting there in space, immobile, while we're moving at 1/24th the speed of light, how anything is going to be deflected or absorbed by Jupiter? It just doesn't make any sense, Edwin.
Good evening. I don't know what doesn't make sense. Were your lips moving?
All right. To rewind real quick. I saw this video a few months ago. Some guy was saying how he's like, if you add up all the movement, all of the theoretical, mathematical, whatever movements that the Earth is making throughout the universe, we're actually going at an incredible speed. Right? Because we're going around the sun's going around the Milky Way is going around the universe. And if you take the accepted rates of speed for each of those and you just add them up, now I grant you, we're not necessarily adding them up because the sun going around. Anyways, the maximum possible with their theoretical numbers is that we're going at 1/24th the speed of light around the universe. And I just find that unfathomable. I get inertia is a thing, but if my contention here is that, first of all, if that was the case, then the excuse that Jupiter is the great filter that filters out all of the real problematic, space debris. Mm-hmm. This is an argument I've heard before. Well, if we are moving through space as this posits, right? Not just like if this is how we're moving through space,
right?
How the hell is Jupiter going to filter anything?
I see. So imagine not just our solar system, not just our galaxy, but the entire universe is perhaps anchored around some initial point. Theoretically, there would be, even if God just summoned the universe into...
I'm not going... Okay, we're not going to God yet.
Okay. Okay, all right, so we won't go to God. So, all right, but matter erupted from a center point. It moved outwards in...
Right. But their claim is that everything isn't moving in synchronicity, right? Everything is going every direction all the time.
I've not seen that claim.
I have not. Yeah, I don't make that claim. That is a claim that I have heard. Brooklyn Lou's a skeptic. He could probably say.
But we're also, just before I came in, I looked at the expansion rate of the universe, and it's like, theoretically, it's like 73 kilometers per second.
What is that in terms of? So that's just more numbers. That's more speed.
It's fast. It's fast.
Is that it's very, very fast, right?
Yeah. I mean, 73 kilometers. Well, we can do the quick math. I'll give you, let's see, 73 times 3,600 would be 262,000 kilometers per hour. What's the speed of light? What's the constant for the speed of light?
120, is it 128,000 miles per hour or something like that? Or not miles per hour. I forget.
The speed of light is 299. 299,792,458 meters per second, or 299,792 kilometers per second. So the expansion is still just a fraction of the speed of light.
Yeah, so my point is, if the universe is going all over the place all the time, then first of all, Jupiter is not filtering jack squat.
Locally, it may be for stuff that's synced in
locally
within the galaxy.
That's what I'm saying. If there's just space dust, well, here's the thing: if we are moving at 1/24th the speed of light, anything that hit us that was just static in the universe, or God forbid, moving in the other direction, it would probably take something like the size of this to cause a 10 megaton explosion.
No, because once it enters into the galactic gravity well and then the solar gravity well, it becomes entrained in those gravity wells.
How would it have time?
Because it's moving over vast distances.
What happened?
I mean, you've got to think about astronomical units. The scope of the science here and the scope of the units may be outside without having like a chart, you know what I mean, to really put these measurements in context.
Yeah, I'd be very interested, because it doesn't make sense to me. Because
but you don't get something. I mean, in order to get something, say it left a gravity body somewhere and it's moving through space, you know, like a little rock, a golf ball sized.
The planet explodes in our path.
Yeah, so it could theoretically obtain a certain velocity, but as soon as it passes by a gravity well, and what I mean by that, as soon as it passes by any other objects that have any kind of sizable mass, then you're going to get it's going to be at least partially entrained, and its momentum.
Hold on a second.
How's everybody doing today? I am sick. I am probably too sick to be doing astrophysics with Mike.
My son got noise canceling headphones, so he doesn't comprehend how loud he's being. Which was fine. When Isaac got them, it's like he's in another room, and so like we're always hearing him yell, and it's like, bro, can you not hear yourself? But
have you contemplated getting him?
So it's going to be a problem if we're doing.
Have you contemplated getting him a noise canceling muzzle to go along with the headphones?
No.
The match set.
Isn't this why the moon is supposed to have craters all over it from taking hits from space objects and protecting the Earth? I don't buy that crap.
We don't know
what is an object supposed to be attracted to the moon rather than if it's going perpendicular to the orbit of the moon, right? Would you be jealous of Captain Marvel?
Huh.
Brooklyn Lou, that's a what?
I guess maybe being able to explore the solar system or the universe.
I mean, yeah, I guess. If I that'd be a pretty sick superpower if you could freaking just.
I'm gonna give the boring answer, and this may not be satisfactory. I don't want anyone else's life. God, in His infinite wisdom, made me as He made me.
Oh.
and he
Well, I don't
gave me
think
a
that's
life.
talking about the skill. I thought it just meant the power.
Oh, yeah.
If God was like, I'm going to give you the ability to fly through space at
I wouldn't
basically,
do anything
you'd have
good
to
with it. I
fold the
wouldn't.
universe. Oh
I
gosh,
would.
dang it, now it's my wife. All right, talk.
Ah, okay. So I get to entertain everyone for a moment. So yes, we are going to have a, and this is the irony, right? Today makes a month without smoking cigarettes, and I'm sick as a dog. That's how it works. That's how it works. But I take comfort in maybe if I was still smoking, I would be much sicker. Mike is talking, but he may not be talking to us. He may be talking to Mrs. Miller.
Hello. All right. So, nah, I still don't get it.
That's okay. That's okay. That's why you draw funny books, Mike.
No, it just doesn't make sense to me. So you haven't heard that stuff is just going all different directions all the time.
Not exactly. Within certain context, right? So you've always got to have your frame of reference, right? For whatever system you're talking about, whether you're talking about our solar system or whether you're talking about like, the satellites that are entrained in near Earth orbit. I mean, notice like our satellites don't just like start spinning around like crazy and then, launch off into something, right? They either kind of stay there, maybe they drift a little
I
bit, or
understand
yeah.
satellite
All
orbits.
right, so
I'm
just
talking about
extend
random
that same principle. When a bit of debris or gas or dust comes under the influence of a gravity well, and so the gravitational force, what I'm calling a gravity well, is I just mean the gravitational force being exerted by a large mass or sometimes even a small mass. In the absence of friction or other forces or other gravitational forces, that gravitational force is probably going to have or perhaps have a significant effect, right?
I get that.
Right.
But
So
I don't.
you
That
think
doesn't stop things from colliding.
you
That
think
doesn't stop
between
things
the
from colliding in
large.
space.
All right, so how many solar systems do we have? How many galaxies do we have in the universe?
Unfathomable.
Unfathomable. Okay, in each galactic system has its own gravitational effect from within the bounds of that, right? Now, you could argue that over time, perhaps that's as the galaxy itself is expanding, that field, the composition, nature, and orthogonality of that field is changing over time. How much mass do you imagine? How much mass and debris do you think are moving in between the spaces of galaxies? And you don't even have to have it. It could be a little or a lot. I'm not looking for really a scientific.
I don't know.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. We don't necessarily know, right? We don't necessarily know because space is big, Mike. It's big.
I know. You know what's also big?
God.
The space between the atomic particles.
Yes. This
isn't solid matter.
No, we perceive as matter as being like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
When actually the spaces between the individual particles are actually.
It's like if one particle is the size of a basketball, the next nearest particle would be a mile away.
If we could
that's how much empty space we are. Never mind.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. If we could, and you remember the old Micronauts comic books?
Yeah.
If we could become Micronauts for a day, but maybe not the bug dude. I don't want to be the bug dude.
Well, that was what I was freaking sharing.
The bug dude
in the
Discord.
Micronauts. No. This. Hold on. This.
I was gonna say, wow, that's a coincidence.
Brooklyn Lou's here, so I want to. I mean, I know he's a skeptic. I get that, but how?
But he's such a nice skeptic.
He is. He's a lovely human being. But let me play this because this is I honestly can't fathom how anyone can think that random, meaningless, materialist chance could be responsible for the
That order
unfathomable.
spontaneously emerged from
Yeah,
non-order.
but this
With all the fancy technical language and jargon.
here, let's
So this is
get
a
through.
transsection
Let's get to the
use. See
animation
these
part.
things that look like teeth.
Ooh,
Those are the letters of genetic code. The
All right, this is
25,000
DNA.
genes you've got written in your
sure.
DNA. This is what they teach us.
Gattaca.
The genetic code. This is what
Here,
they're talking
here, I'm
about.
gonna play this.
I want to talk about a different aspect of
This
DNA
is
science, and that is the physical
mind-boggling.
nature of DNA. And it's these two strands that run in opposite directions for reasons I can't go into right now. But they
And then you keep
physically
in
run
mind, this
opposite
is just
directions, which
one
creates a
facet
number of complications
Yes.
for
of
cells, as you're about
a
to see. most particularly
billion
when DNA is
different
being
mechanics
copied.
going on
And
in
so
your body
what I'm about
at
to show you
any
is an
given
accurate
second of your
representation
life.
of the actual DNA replication machine that's occurring right now inside your body. At least 2002.
Well, even the order
DNA is
in
entering
the vast reaches of space, where there is no life that we know of, but just the order,
pulling
you
apart
know,
a
in
strand.
those defined bodies and the
So
chemical
DNA comes in
processes.
this blue
you know.
donut-shaped structure. and
It seems amazing that
Yeah,
I'm just talking, not even getting to life,
to be seen spooling off
but
down.
just the elements,
But things aren't so simple for the other strands.
the subatomic composition of matter,
In these
Well,
things that,
section.
that all this
Yeah.
order could happen. And
it's not
then,
just order. It's not just
Now, you
order.
have
Pay attention to what's
billions
happening.
of this
That is
machine
a
right now
machine.
whirring the right way inside,
Yes.
copying
That
your
is a
DNA with
machine
exquisite fidelity.
following a
It's an accurate
pre-programmed
representation, and it's pretty much
um,
at the correct speed for what it's occurring
function.
inside you. But I've left
Yes.
out error correction and a bunch of other things.
And there's, like I
Um,
said, billions of these machines,
This was work from a number of years ago.
different
Thank you.
kinds of machines at work
in our
This-
body.
Years
every
ago, but I wanna
second
show you
of
next.
every living creature's body.
Yeah.
It's far more complex than anything we could even freaking fathom of, right? Think that just
Yeah.
the time and the work. This is nonsense. Brooklyn Lou, it's unfathomable that someone won the Mega Million lottery the other day. Unlikely, but did it happen? But the chances of what you're believing in, Lou, would be like that same person winning the Mega Million lottery every hour of every day for the rest of his life.
For the rest of eternity.
For the rest of eternity.
Yeah,
That's
So
the
the
level of
orders,
skepticism you should be looking at. There's no
orders-
way that these mechanisms are pre-programmed. They are it's like a fully functioning factory just in one cell. Never mind. And then within that cell, like the mechanics and the machinery required. And these are built by tiny freaking proteins, amino acids put together and then performing a predetermined function. These things don't have minds of their own, right? Amino acids don't have brains, but they have functions they are programmed to do. And every tiny little, I can't understand how someone can look at that and be like, oh yes, random meaningless chance is responsible for that level of intricacy and function. It's insane. Where do you come up with these arbitrary odds? All right, you come up with the odds then, Lucifer. What is it you think I am believing? I do not know all that much about cell reproduction and
yeah. Fair enough.
I try not to speak of things I simply do not know. Okay, well then,
Fair enough.
Then this is a great rabbit hole for you to go down.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of videos like these on YouTube of people who have discovered, and people who are not even believers in anything. They're scientists, but even scientists are just overwhelmingly, blown away by the intricacies of that design. It's design.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we know anyone who ever went to their closet, their junk closet, knocked some stuff over, and accidentally created a supercomputer. Didn't happen.
And that would be far easier.
That's the level of complexity we're talking about. A self-powered supercomputer, for that matter.
Yeah.
By a couple of components just happened to randomly fall together in the closet.
So someone compared the chances to essentially going to a junkyard with a stick of dynamite, blowing up a pile of trash, and finding the space shuttle. Like the explosion creates the space shuttle. That's about the same level of odds as you have of, of life becoming, or the first cell becoming a thing out of random meaningless chance. Yeah, it's odds like that it's just, I can't fathom how people can look at that with a straight face and say, like, yeah, random.
I may have to tap out here in a second, brother. I am not feeling good.
That's all right, buddy. I hope you feel better. What's wrong?
I've got a fever. My wife was sick, and then apparently I've got sick, so I'm running a fever, and my nose is running like a torrent. So,
oh man, you better catch it before it gets away.
Yeah. Good thing I quit smoking.
All right, bro. I'll let you go. Get some rest.
All right. Later.
I'll handle the voice of God.
Happy New Year's, everyone.
Peace. Happy New Year's. With a sample size of only one single observable universe to work with, it's literally impossible for us to determine, is everything the result of design or not? How could we ever tell? How can you tell if anything is the work of design? Honestly, I'm trying to find something. Do you think it is fathomable in any reality that this bell, which is literally infinitely less complex, it is 3 pieces, well, maybe 4 pieces, right? And it serves a purpose. It's 4 pieces and it serves a purpose. Do you think in any rational universe you could say this created itself? The level of intricacy of even one simple single cell in any living creature or any plant is, it's like a factory. It's as complex as a fully functioning working factory. But you wouldn't be dumb enough to say that this could possibly have arisen by chance. But you would say that a simple cell arose by chance. That's the level of disconnect I don't understand. I mean, I guess I do understand if you don't want, if your purpose is to find reasons not to believe in God, then you will dismiss whatever evidence is in front of you. To me, the evidence is literally everywhere. And the deeper we go into the understanding of microbiology, the more evidence there is that there's no freaking way in the world. At least Darwin had the excuse. He only had a microscope and he looked at a cell and he saw a little blob with a little dot in it. He's like, well, I could see how that little blob with that little dot in it could evolve, right? But no, when you get a freaking what's it called, an atomic microscope, I forget, and you understand just even the tiniest little piece of that blob is like the flagellum, right? Like the flagellum on a cell that lets it move. It's got a rotor. It's got what are those things called? It's like a fully functioning motor made out of proteins, like designed on a it's so designed. The design is so obvious when you get to that super microscopic level that I don't understand how people can just be like, oh yeah, clearly that. And again, these proteins don't have brains. They just know what to do. Lucifer says, we can observe that the bell was designed and made by someone. That's a false equivalency. All right. You know what? I'm supposed to be reading the Bible right now, but flagellum motor. Do. All right. I'm going to share the entire screen since I can share the window, right? You're going to look at that and say that's less intricate than this bell? You're going to look at this bell and say, obviously that was designed. And then you're going to look at the flagellum motor on a simple cell and say, well, no way, that was designed. That clearly came about by meaningless chance. We know a bell is designed. This is not hard to figure out. Was a tree designed? Yes. Again, you have take the deep dive into microbiology, Lou. Honestly, Lucifer, you too, both of you. We all have different species that don't have all the parts of this motor. It can be reduced. This is in a cell, dude. It's just in a cell. I once built a supercomputer by throwing stuff at a wall. Yeah, right. Complexity doesn't get us to a designer, just that it's complex. No, this is design. How can you look at this? How can you look at this and say that is not designed? In your rational mind, just think about that without your preconception that you refuse to accept that there's a God. How can you look at that and say, yes, that came about meaninglessly without just because some lightning hit a puddle with some molecules in it, right? Are you rational? You certainly must know, we know how a tree comes about, and it's not designed. It's all natural and understood. Bro, nature is designed. Nature is designed. All right, I gotta stop. I gotta get to the Exodus chapter. So it's like beating my head. I know. You know what it's like? It's like talking to me before I was a Christian. We have found the building blocks for life on asteroids. No, we haven't. Also, the building blocks for life. You mean amino acids? You mean amino acids? Do you even understand the difference between an amino acid and a living cell? The first stage of life would be a living cell. That motor I just showed you, this flagellum, this is just how a cell gets around. Every functioning part here. What is the basic cell? I swear I shouldn't be doing this. I have time. Basic cellular system. All right, just one cell. All of those parts are as complex or more complex than the rotor. Okay, keep that in mind real quick. All of these parts are as complex as the rotor or more complex than the rotor, meaning each of those designed elements like the rotor had to come into existence on its own, and then all of them had to literally magically find each other to become the first living cell. Because the living cell cannot exist. This is what's called irreducible complexity. That cell cannot exist without any single one of those parts. It can't just be a membrane and a rotor, right? It can't just be a membrane and a Golgi complex. It doesn't work that way. In order for a cell to function, it has to have those minimal parts. Does that comprehend to you? The day any evidence is ever discovered that can demonstrate an alternative possibility to agency and design is possible, then whatever the alternative could be would then also become a Saying nothing exploded and all things emerged from an unexplainable phenomenon of energy is similarly useless in explanatory value. All right. A candidate explanation as well, but not before the time to believe in something is when it can be empirically demonstrated to be true, not before. Well, I'm empirically demonstrating to you that life without these parts, and this you can go ask any scientist on planet Earth, can a cell exist without any of these necessary parts? No. Therefore, you have a problem. A cell cannot culminate without all of its necessary parts, and its necessary parts cannot create themselves. What are you left with? I'll just leave that in your hands, and we will move on to Exodus. And I'm going to try to stop reading the chat while I go through Exodus. All right. Exodus chapter 23. Thou shalt not. Hold on. Let me get a drink of water. Lou, just look into it yourself. Look into the you sound like a rational, reasonable person. Look into it yourself, and you come to the conclusion. Thou shalt not raise a false report. Put not thine hand with the righteous witness. Shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. 2020, ring a bell, anybody? Neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment. This is like Comicsgate. Neither shalt thou countenance a poor man in his cause. That's curious. What does that mean? Neither shalt thou countenance a poor man in his cause. 23, 3. Do not show favoritism to a poor person in a lawsuit. Oh, gotcha. Be unbiased. Could have just put be unbiased, but yeah. If thou meet thine enemy's ox or his ass going astray, thou shalt surely bring it back to him again. They're very good at this in Japan. If you, my friend, he knew a guy who left his wallet in a taxi in Japan, and like he started freaking out at the hotel, and the hotel driver was like, "Oh no, don't worry, he'll bring it back." And the guy's like, "What? It's not gonna happen." Like 10 minutes later, taxi shows up. "Oh, you forgot your wallet in my car." If thou see the ass of him that hateth thee lying under his burden, and wouldest forbear to help him, thou shalt surely help with him.
I have 1100 HP. What is that?
Lying under his burden. I feel like I need to read this in NIV 23. 5. If you see a donkey of someone who hates you fallen down under its load, do not leave it there. Be sure to help them with it. This is kind of basic. Don't be a jerk stuff. Thou shalt not rest the judgment of thy poor in his... Oh, what the heck? Thou shalt countenance the poor. Thou shalt arrest the... You know what? I'm going to do this in King. Usually I hate the NIV, but some of this countenance stuff is like, do not deny justice to your poor people in their lawsuits. Yeah. Keep thee far from a false matter, and the innocent and righteous slay thou not, for I will not justify the wicked. Obvious. That's pretty plain. If thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blindeth the wise. Don't be, what's that called? Bribed. And perverteth the word of the righteous. Do not accept bribes. Be a decent person. Let me describe what that looks like for those who don't know. Say Amy. What's up, Ollie? Ollie Pong showed up. Also, thou shalt not oppress a stranger, For ye know the heart of a stranger, seeing ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. That's right. And 6 years shalt thou sow thy land, and shalt gather in the fruits thereof. But the 7th year shalt let it rest and lie still, that the poor of thy people may eat. And what they leave, the beasts of the field shall eat. In like manner shalt thou do with thy vineyard and with thy oliveyard. So, to me, the obvious way to handle this is to apportion your fields into 7 parts, and every 7 years you switch which part of your land lies unkept, so that, as it said, the beast can eat in the field, and also because you want the soil to refresh itself. This is what's screwing up our nutrition in America, is that we plow and plow and plow. We use the same fields over and over again, year after year, year after year. We never let it lie fallow, and all the nutrients get sucked out of the soil. The nutrients in our plants, the minerals, they have to come from somewhere, right? There's a limited. Their minerals are not auto-regenerative, right? So and here's the problem: the body needs about 100 different minerals, trace minerals, to function properly. Like all those little cells we were talking about earlier, they each require specific minerals like cell repairs, vitamin D, like calcium deliveries, vitamin K. Well, that's vitamins. Cell elasticity is copper, right? For example, copper. And then magnesium is for your muscles to relax. Is it magnesium? Potassium allows your muscles to contract. Like all these different minerals are in the ground, and they get absorbed by the plants because plants can break down these minerals. Our bodies can't, and they turn them into what's called colloidal minerals. Colloidal minerals are 98% soluble by the human body. Whereas, anyways, point being, the ground, if you don't let it rest, and I don't know what, like the animals and birds pooping on it, whatever it is that allows it to regenerate, maybe even other plants. I don't know how you get the minerals back in there, but obviously it's not good to just beat the living crap out of your dirt. It is sad because we need like 100 minerals, like I was saying, but the government, the FDA, only requires farmers to add, I think, 13 or 14 different minerals back into the soil every year, which is not enough for us. But this is not me trying to sell you on colloidal minerals. I do think you should look into it yourself, but probably, as a squirrel, I probably shouldn't be chasing. 6 days shalt thou do thy work, on the 7th day thou shalt rest, and thine ox and thine ass may rest also, and the son of thy handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed. Everybody, including your servants, everyone's got to get a day off every week. Chill, get refreshed, and then you can jump back onto it on Monday, or for them on Sunday. And in all things that I have said to you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. I believe Lou was asking about the other gods. We covered this the other day. The Bible doesn't say there aren't other lowercase g gods. It's very obvious that people worshipped other gods, whether they be real, whether they be demons or fallen angels, or just historical, like I said, I think that all those myths have some basis in reality. So Zeus, Thor, blah blah blah, all those guys, were they Nephilim? Were they demons? I have no idea. What is the basis for those? I don't think somebody just... I think it's unlikely that people just came up with names for, like you're sitting around a tribe one day and you're like, you don't have any explanation for anything, so Joe just says, you know what that thunder is? Bro, that's Thor. Yeah, man, Thor. This guy Thor is up there in the clouds hammering on an anvil. And everyone's like, yes, we shall believe that now. He shall be our God. It just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe that happened. I'm sure that's within the realm of possibility. But I always think that these like myths and legends and gods and stuff, they have some sort of basis in reality. I'm not to say that there's actually a Thor hammering, right? But like, did some strong, legendary character, mighty men of old, that's what the Bible calls them. It's like mighty men of old and giants of renown, men of renown, whatever. Did they create a legend that became the gods that people worship? Stuff like that. But that beside, everyone knows that, and God knows too, that other people put people in or put idols and whatnot as gods in their life. So make no mention of the name of other gods. It's like he is God. Therefore, don't praise these false gods. 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. 3 parties, everybody, 3 parties. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I command thee. At the time appointed of the month of Abib, for in it thou camest out of Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. And the feast of harvest, the first fruits of thy labor, which thou hast sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, when thou gatherest in thy labors out of the field. 3 times in the year all thy males shall appear before the Lord God. Thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, neither shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until the morning. The first of the first fruits of thy land shalt thou bring into the house of the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in its mother's milk. This is the scripture wherein Orthodox Jews, well, it's supposed to be all Jews, but I think more specifically Orthodox Jews won't even, they have like 2 refrigerators and 2 sinks and 2 counters, whatever. It's basically, they have a double kitchen because they won't place milk products with meat products. So it's like, this talk about straining at a gnat and swallowing a camel, right? They get all of that from thou shalt not see the kid in its mother's milk. Okay, don't freaking boil a kid in its mother's milk. I get that. I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know why. I'm sure there's something like contextual about this that we in the modern age just don't understand. But the Jews took it to this whole other level, and it's in their like the Talmud. My wife was asking me about the Talmud yesterday, and it's like the Talmud is 100. How many? It was like my bookshelf right there. Like half of that, if I wanted to read the Talmud, half of that would be the Talmud. That's just the Babylonian Talmud. I think there's like Mishnahs and other stuff that are like, it's a lot, but that's what like the gates they put around the law to try to keep you from just adhering to the law. And one of those things would be, don't put your dairy by your meat. Anyways, let me, Brooklyn, I want to try to get, oh my gosh, this is so long. I only have 5 minutes.
The terrain is
behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then will I be an enemy to thine adversaries, and an adversary to thine adversaries. If you obey his voice. This is not a promise for those just because you believe, right? And this was a promise to Israel. But but I think it holds up to us. If we are obedient to him, he will be an enemy to your enemies and an adversary to your adversaries. For mine angel shall go before thee and bring thee into the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hivites and the Jebusites. I will cut them off. Thou shalt not bow down to other gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but thou shalt utterly overthrow them and quite break down their images. All right, this I will address. That is why I asked, would you be jealous of Captain Marvel? If you were a real god, would you be jealous of a fake god? Pretty shallow. No. I mean, you could make that claim, but he doesn't want your heart. That's what God wants. That God loves you, and God wants you to love him back. And love is your heart, right? He wants your heart. And if you, rather than giving your heart to God, you give your heart to Thor, whatever, right? Would you want your wife? All right, there's a good example. Brooklyn Lou. Would you want your wife idolizing other men? Right? Even though you know she can never get them. She loves Chris Hemsworth, right? She fantasizes and she just has this whole thing where she puts Chris Hemsworth first in her life. She's married to you, sure. And there's no chance on earth she could ever get with Chris Hemsworth. But she's got a statue of him in the hallway. She's got a poster of him over your bed, right? She has him as her cell phone screen. This is her idolizing someone that's not her husband. This is what it means, right? Even though you know for a fact there's no way on earth Chris Hemsworth and her are ever going to get together. Is that going to make you jealous? Why? Pretty shallow, no? All right. And ye shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall be blessed, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. And there shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in thy land, and the number of thy days will I fulfill. I will send my fear before thee, and will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come, and I will make all thine enemies turn their backs unto thee. And I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivite, hornet hive, a pun, the Canaanite and the Hittite from before thee. I will not drive them out before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the beast of the field multiply against thee. Little by little I will drive them out from before thee, until thou be increased and inherit the land. And I will set thy bounds from the Red Sea, even unto the sea of the Philistines. Red Sea, unto the sea of the Philistines. Where's the sea of the Philistines? I thought that was the Mediterranean. And from the desert unto the river, for I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and thou shalt drive them out before thee. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto thee. Whew. And I am almost out of time. Let's see. Your video game collection exists. Fake gods do not. I would not be jealous of a video game collection. Gregus, in all my research and investigation into Christianity, I've never encountered the trope of religion not allowing any questions. I have only ever seen the opposite to be true. They welcome it. Yeah, I'm completely open to questions. That's why I'm here. And I try to answer every question, any even contentious questions. So. DJ says, Book and Lou Skeptic, the stone and wood of the idol exist, and that's not much about the thing as it is where the love and devotion is focused. Mike's right on that point. Yes. Oh, just on that point, huh, DJ? Thanks a lot, buddy. Buddy Rabbit says, the entire condemnation of idols in Isaiah encapsulates this point. People calling it a god and referring it to as their god is meaningful for communication of this statement. Brooklyn Lou says, if my wife made up a guy that she fantasized about, no, that would not make me jealous. Honest answer on my part.
Like, where is our teammate?
But if it was Chris Hemsworth. So you're saying, I mean, it's funny because nowadays she could, because of AI. She could train an AI. That's actually very. What if she trained an AI? She's like, I'm gonna take Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans and all the Chris's in Hollywood, and I'm gonna have AI turn them into one perfect Chris. And then I'm going to go to AI agents, and I'm going to mint an AI agent, which is an AI voice for this character. And then I'm going to have, I'm going to devote all of my intellectual conversation. What if she falls in love with the AI character she created, and she doesn't love you anymore? She loves this imaginary person that she has created. So much so that she doesn't even bother. She doesn't show you any affection. She doesn't treat you as a husband anymore. All of her husbandly ideals she places on this imaginary AI character. Honest answer, that would still not make you jealous? I sincerely doubt that to be true. And I hope you never have to encounter it. Wouldn't you be concerned you didn't fit her expectation if she's making up men? These verses are talking about gods, not idols. That's gods and idols are the same thing. They're interchangeable, literally, in the Bible. That's the lowercase g is an idol. These are the gods they're talking about. Yeah, gods and idols are often used as interchangeable terms. That doesn't mean the Bible concedes those gods actually can exist, but rather they are real in worshippers' mind. And again, there are demons and principalities and powers that other realms, other people can consider gods and worship as gods, even though they might be real. I believe that someone pretended to be an angel of light and spoke to Muhammad. I do actually believe that, because a lot of the stuff in the Quran sort of flips the Bible on its head, which means some intelligence which understood what the Bible teaches in prophetic language flipped that around. Someone who understood better than Muhammad would have, but since he was an illiterate, some intelligence delivered that message to him, and he didn't claim it was a god. Well, he did claim it was a god. He claimed it was Allah. Is Allah a real god? No. There's a case in point right there. Yes, Allah, whoever Allah is, delivered a message to Muhammad, right? Because of the reasons that I just interjected. Is he the creator God? No. Is he a god to 2 billion people? Yes. Do they get offended when you say he's not the creator God? Yes. He's a false god. Hate to break it to you. But 2 billion people worship him as their true God. It's a good case in point. Wow, we are over time, and I just kind of want to keep going, but I got a meeting.
I don't think I've ever seen a Hawkeye.
I have a meeting on Monday with my team for Squid Grow. So, if I were the husband, I'd wonder why my wife had to occupy her time with something else, and I'd wonder what I was doing or not doing to fulfill our needs. But men don't really think like that. All right, Brooklyn's not traditional in his intimate relationship. I'm not even going to go there. I'm not going to delve into that one. Anyways, the link to the Discord is in the description. If you guys want to carry this conversation on, please, by all means, you're always leaving us, Mike. Just by all means, please do join the Discord. Continue the conversation in there. Otherwise, I do have to prep for my meeting. So God bless you all, and we'll see you on the next exciting episode of Cross Examination.
Back in line, you dog! On your feet! Get them going!